Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name is Such.
And my name is James.
And it's quiz day, Wednesday, hump day, whatever you want to call it day.
Hump day?
Yeah, that's what we call it, isn't it? Wednesday.
Is that where you get a pass or something?
I don't think so. I think it's just the middle of the week. So people call it hump day. Well, I've just got to get paper for the quiz, James. We're going to have a quiz today.
Today is Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around the history of the League Cup.
League Cup. I mean, I have to say, I'm not that excited about this quiz, James.
No, fuck you.
I just feel like I'm not going to get any answers right, so it's hard to get excited about a quiz. It's like me going to do a quiz on, I don't know, geoscience or brain surgery or something. I'm not going to get any answers right. But anyway, I have done a little bit of research.
What I wanted to do, because obviously this is covering a longer period than something we've done before. It's in fact, I can't tell you why, because one of the questions is about why. But it's covering, obviously, the whole history from its inception to, obviously, now.
Yeah.
And what I've tried to do with this one a little bit is kind of give you almost like the story of the tournament. I haven't done it in a particular order, but there's stuff historically that I think you'll take away afterwards and go, oh, I didn't know that. So even though if you might get blasted by some of the answers on that, and yes, if you're younger and you're going to struggle with some of the older questions, fine. But then you learn something a little bit historical.
Good. So let's get straight into it.
There are plenty of modern questions as well. There are 20 questions with a total of 30 possible answers.
Okie dokie.
Are you ready to start, Suj?
I'm ready to start, James.
For those who are not ready on the audio or on YouTube, go and get yourself a pen and paper. Let's have some fun for a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question 1. Nice, easy one to start with. Which club has won the League Cup trophy the most times?
Okay. We've got one out of 30, James.
Well, that's if you've got the correct answer, yeah.
I've got the correct answer, James.
Okay, mate, cool. Have you done research for this one?
A little.
All right.
No, I suppose it's the breadth of the period we're covering, and I don't know how detailed you're going to be. So.
Okay. Question 2. Aston Villa beat Rotherham United over 2 legs in the first ever final. In what year was this? Aston Villa beat Rotherham United over 2 legs in the first ever final. In what year was this?
It's a reasonable start, James.
Yeah, well, you're 2 out of 2, are you?
Well, yeah. I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to be much harder than this. I'm sure it's going to get tougher.
Oh, I am. I wanted everybody to think this is okay.
Luring us into a false sense of security.
Question 3. Freddie Eastwood scored the only goal in a famous upset against Manchester United in 2006. Who did he score the goal for?
Freddie Eastwood.
Freddie Eastwood scored the only goal in a famous upset against Manchester United in 2006. Who did he score the goal for?
I remember the name. I really do remember the name. But I have no idea who he was playing for. Freddie Eastwood.
Freddie Eastwood. There was a lot of big clubs looking at him at the time. Nobody really took the plunge.
I feel like I'm not even going to say who I think it is, but yeah, okay.
Question 4. Very recent one, this. Who did Manchester City beat 9-0 at the Etihad in their 2019 semi-final first leg? Who did Manchester City beat 9-0 at the Etihad in their 2019 semi-final first leg? Question 5. 2 possible correct answers, 1 point for each. Listen carefully, it's quite a long one.
Oof.
The first final held at Wembley was in 1967. Can you name the third division side who came from 2-0 down to beat West Bromwich Albion in the final? And can you name the other third division side who won the competition, beating Arsenal 3-1 after extra time 2 years later?
I seem to remember, James,
Yeah.
that it is only once in the history of the cup that someone's come from behind to win in the final.
That's definitely incorrect.
Okay.
This might be the only time from 2-0, maybe.
I think what I was thinking was when it was over 2 legs, only one team came back from a deficit, I think.
Possibly. I won't say how many finals there were that were over 2 legs, because that'll give you away the answer to question 2. But 1967 was the first Wembley final. So which third division side came from 2-0 down to beat West Brom 3-2? And then another third division side beat Arsenal 3-1 after extra time in the final 2 years later. Can you name those two third division sides who won the trophy? And obviously, that was third division at the time. It wasn't a current third division. Question 6.
League One or whatever.
It would be your equivalent of League One now, yes. Question 6. Who was the last English manager to win the competition? Question 6. Who was the last English manager to win the competition?
That's a good question, James.
Thanks, pal.
I like that one.
Cheers, mate. Do you know the answer?
I don't. I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to figure it out. Who was the last English manager to win it, eh?
Question 7. We would obviously repeat everything at the end. Question 7. Ian Rush holds the joint record for most appearances in a final with 6. All of them were for Liverpool. Which other former Liverpool player shares the record for the most final appearances? It is Premier League era. Ian Rush holds the joint record for most appearances in a League Cup final with 6. All of them were for Liverpool. Which other former Liverpool player shares that record?
Former Liverpool player.
In the Premier League era.
Okay.
Question 8. Which side won the 1986 final against QPR during their first ever top flight season? When the competition was formed, they weren't able to participate because they were still a non-league club. Which side won the 1986 final against QPR during their first ever top flight season? They had not been able to take part in the first year of the competition because they were still a non-league side.
Okay. I haven't got a clue.
It's good. Question 9. Who became the first side to retain the trophy? So which side was the first team to win it 2 years in a row? Who became the first side to retain the trophy?
What? I'd have liked it if you'd have said who was the first team to get into the final 2 years in a row, James.
What's the point in that? No one cares about losers.
No, true. That's why your club have struggled over the years.
But in any case, that brings me nicely on to question 10. There are 5 answers that you can give for this in total. 5 teams have competed in 2 finals and never won the competition. Can you name them? 1 point for each.
It's number 10, isn't it, James? Sorry.
That's question 10, yeah. So there are 5 teams who have competed in 2 finals and never won the competition. Can you name them? 1 point for each. I'll give you a minute for that one, I think. Suj looks very thoughtful.
I've got 1 down.
You've got 1. That's good. It's a good start. 1 is better than none, sir.
Yeah, is it?
5 teams have competed in 2 finals and never won the competition. 1 point for each. You need to remember teams that never won it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's 5 teams is a lot. And then you got to think about all the finals and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that haven't won it. There's not that many teams if you look at it. I suppose it's what, 60 years. There's not 60 teams that have won it, is there?
Definitely not, sir.
Mm.
I will move on to question 11. Arsenal came back from 4-0 down to win a remarkable tie at Reading in the fourth round in 2012. What was the final score after extra time? Arsenal came back from 4-0 down to win a remarkable tie at Reading in the fourth round in 2012. What was the final score after extra time?
I don't remember it.
That's not going to help you then.
No, but I know it's definitely not 4-4. I'll give you that.
Well, you can obviously take a stab, can't you? It's obvious that it's higher than that.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had a stab.
Question 12.
I don't think who else has been in the final and not won it, mate.
Are you still on question 10, are you?
Well, there's 5 answers for it, mate. So
Yeah. Question 12.
yes.
Who holds the record as the youngest scorer in a final, having scored aged just 17 in the 1983 final between Liverpool and Manchester United? Who holds the record as the youngest scorer in a League Cup final, having scored just aged 17 in the 1983 final between Liverpool and Manchester United?
I'm going to get 3 out of 30 now, James.
Oh, you know that one, do you?
Yeah, that was on the list. That was on the list of Wikipedia.
You've definitely done a little bit of research, cheeky bugger.
Well, I looked at the records, who's got the most goals and all that kind of stuff.
Question 13 is the one that Suj, I think, has been waiting for most.
Oh, is it? Is it the sponsors?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
How many different companies have sponsored the trophy? I don't want a list of them. I just want to know how many different sponsors. How many different companies have sponsored the trophy?
People on screen couldn't see me counting on my fingers there for a second.
I think you can do that, Suj. It's all right to go on.
No, but I don't want people to see how many fingers I've got left.
Yeah, but you'll probably count wrong. No one's going to trust your answers. I reckon you might know that one, though.
No, I do know that one.
Question 14.
Yeah.
Just to clarify on 13, I'm obviously not including years where it's just called the League Cup or the EFL Cup. There has to be an actual sponsor. Yeah. Question 14. The last final to have a replay was between Leicester and Middlesbrough in 1997. Which stadium hosted the replay? The last final to have a replay was between Leicester and Middlesbrough in 1997. Which stadium hosted the replay? And it's a great plug there for tomorrow's podcast, the Thursday throwback, based on that football season and Middlesbrough season within it. What a car crash, but it's brilliant. Yeah. Question 15. The 1985 final was played between two teams who would get relegated that season as Norwich beat Sunderland 1-0. But who played in this final who would later win and lose finals as a captain in the 1990s? The 1985 final was played by two teams who would get relegated that season as Norwich beat Sunderland 1-0. But who played in this final who would later win and lose finals as a captain in the 1990s? Obviously, when I say finals, I am obviously referencing the League Cup still. Do you know it, Suj?
Obviously not. I don't think it was a Norwich player.
Let me tell you that if you don't get that one right, you will kick yourself.
Norwich, Leicester, did you say?
So Norwich Sunderland was the 85 final. Norwich won it 1-0. Both sides were relegated that season, remarkably. Someone played in that final who would go on and be a captain, a winning captain and a losing captain in the 1990s.
I feel that. But for different teams, right?
For the same team. There you go. You can have that.
Oh.
Question 16.
All right.
Who became the first team to win the trophy at the rebuilt Wembley Stadium? To clarify, that's the rebuilding this century, not in the 1920s. Who became the first team to win the trophy at the rebuilt Wembley Stadium? Wembley as we know it now. Suj doesn't know the answer. I can tell he doesn't.
Trying to figure it out. Okay.
Question 17. In 1977, Aston Villa needed 2 replays before beating Everton. Who scored twice for Villa in the second replay and later went on to manage Villa in the Premier League era? In 1977, Aston Villa needed 2 replays before beating Everton. Who scored twice for Villa in the second replay and later went on to manage Villa in the Premier League era?
I've got a stab at that, James. I've got a guess.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can take educated guesses, can't you? Question 18. Manchester City have won 5 of the last...
18 or 17?
Question 18. Are you missing something as usual?
I think I have, James. So that's 17. So 16 was Norwich v Sunderland.
No, that's 15.
What was 16?
16, first team to win at the new Wembley.
Yeah.
First team to win the trophy at the new Wembley.
Sorry. 17
is the Villa player that scored twice and 77 later managed them.
Correct. Yep.
Question 18.
Yes, James.
Manchester City have won 5 of the last 7 competitions. Who is the only City player to score in more than one of those 5 finals?
Who's the only City player to score more than once?
Scoring more than one final. But actually, yes, it is more than once as well. Manchester City have won 5 of the last 7 finals. Who is the only City player to score in more than one of those finals?
Okay.
Question 19. Who scored Arsenal's winning goal against Sheffield Wednesday in the 1993 final and then broke his arm in the post-match celebrations after Tony Adams dropped him? Unconfirmed if Tony Adams was sober or not.
I do remember that.
Do you know the answer?
I think so.
Okay. I think if you don't know, you're in big trouble now.
Actually, I know.
It's not like Thierry Henry. Do you know what I mean? Who scored Arsenal's winning goal in the 1993 final against Sheffield Wednesday?
I know. I could draw a picture of him. I know his first name. I'm just wondering if that was his surname.
And then broke his arm.
Now I remember his surname.
In the post-match celebrations after Tony Adams dropped him. Yeah, Tony Adams tried to put him on his shoulders and it didn't go so well. Question 20, final question, has 6 possible correct answers. Since the formation of the Premier League, 6 clubs have appeared in the League Cup final who were outside the top division at the time. Can you name them? So essentially, since the Premier League was formed in 1992, 6 clubs from beneath the Premier League have reached the League Cup final. 1 point for each.
That one's a bit trickier.
Do you know any of them?
Couple. I just need time, James, and I've got myself confused by getting my question numbers wrong. So, but it's all right. So,
right. I will give you a minute to
go
on.
top to bottom, and I'll jump in on my.
Yeah, I'll
on
go
my
top to
movies.
bottom, and hopefully it will give some people to do obviously the longer ones, 10 and 20. I'll probably just repeat those two first. So question 10 was which 5 teams have competed in 2 finals and never won the competition. Question 20, as we just did, are 6 clubs who have reached the final from outside the Premier League in the Premier League era.
I'm going to take 10 out of 30 on this one, mate. I'll take that as a victory.
I think 10 out of 30 on this might be quite good. So question 1 was which club has won the trophy the most times?
Yeah.
Question 2, Aston Villa beat Rotherham United over 2 legs in the first ever final. In what year was this? Question 3, who did Freddie Eastwood score for in the famous upset against Manchester United in 2006? Question 4, who did Manchester City beat 9-0 at the Etihad in their 2019 semi-final first leg? Question 5, first final was held at Wembley in 1967. It was won by a 3rd division club who came from 2-0 down to beat West Bromwich Albion. Who was it? And also, what was the other 3rd division side who would beat Arsenal after extra time in the final 2 years later? Question 6, who was the last English manager to win the competition? Question 7, Ian Rush holds the joint record for most final appearances with 6. All of them were for Liverpool. But which other former Liverpool player shares the record for the most final appearances? That's in the Premier League era, that former Liverpool player. I mean, it's fair to say not all of the appearances were for Liverpool. You could probably guess that.
Yeah.
Question 8, which top division side won the 1986 final against QPR during their first top flight season, having not been able to compete in the first League Cup tournament as they had still been a non-league club? Question 9, who became the first side to retain the trophy? Question 10 was the 5 teams have competed in 2 finals but never won the competition. Question 11, Arsenal came back from 4-0 down to win a 4th round tie at Reading in 2012. What was the final score after extra time? Question 12, who aged 17 became the youngest ever scorer in the League Cup final, record that still stands in the 1983 final between Liverpool and Manchester United. Question 13, how many different companies have sponsored the trophy? Question 14, where was the final replay between Leicester and Middlesbrough in 1997, the last final to have a replay? Question 15, Norwich beat Sunderland in the final. Who would later play as a winning captain and a losing captain in the 90s who played in that fixture? Question 16, who became the first team to win the trophy at the rebuilt Wembley Stadium? Question 17, who scored twice for Villa in their second replay in the final of 1977, who later went on to manage them in the Premier League era? Question 18, Manchester City have won 5 of the last semi-finals. Who is the only City player to score in more than one of those finals? Question 19, which Arsenal player scored the winner and then broke his arm in the post-match celebrations in 1993? And question 20, since the formation of the Premier League, 6 clubs have appeared in the final who were outside the top flight. Can you name them? So that's non-top division clubs to appear in the final since 1992. Anything you don't have an answer for, Suj?
Number 6.
So number 6 was, that's a tricky one. As you said, it's a good question. It was the last English manager to win the competition.
Okay, I've got an answer for it.
All right, and missing anything else?
I don't think it's the right answer, but it's an answer. No, I've only got 3 teams for the last question.
How many you got for number 10?
I've got 5 down.
All right, cool. Should we go through answers then?
On 2 of them. And number 8 was who played against QPR, right?
Who beat QPR in the 1986 final during their first ever top flight season?
Yeah, I'm not going to get that. First ever top flight season.
Correct.
Nah. Okay.
We'll go through answers. If you think there's something else for question 20 as you go, or number 10, feel free to add it on. But once we get there, you're locked in.
No, I'm locked in. Let's do it. Let's get this out of the way.
Question one: Who has won the most trophies? Suj.
Liverpool.
Liverpool is the correct answer. Yeah, they've won it 8 times, 4 times in a row: 81, 82, 83, 84. Also 95, 2001, 2003, and the most recent in 2012. Question 2: What year was the first ever final, Suj?
1961.
Good man. Great year, 1961.
Wow. What did you win then?
Everything but that. Yes, 1961. The greatest year in the history of Tottenham Hotspur. 1961 is the correct answer. Question 3. Who did Freddie Eastwood score for against Manchester United in 2006?
I've gone with Colchester. And I feel like Colchester were then my default answer for any question that was a non-league related club. But yeah, I've gone with Colchester.
I'm going to tell you right now that there is no correct answers during this quiz called Colchester United.
Yeah, so
but I'll tell you what, you were kind of heading in the right direction, Serge, geographically. The correct answer is Southend United.
Yeah, Southend. Freddie Eastwood, Southend. Yeah, makes sense.
Question 4. Who did Manchester City beat 9-0 at the Etihad in their 2017 semi-final first leg?
Was it Stoke?
No. Oh. FPL Potter's just unsubscribed.
Can I change my answer?
Go on.
Burton Albion.
Burton Albion is the correct answer.
Thank you. Now I remember Nigel Clough as the manager.
Where did you get Stoke? Where did you get Stoke from?
I don't know. I just feel like they got battered in a quarter or a semi. Burton Albion, that's it. I remember now. Yes.
That 9-0 is not the record's victory in the competition. 2 teams, just as a bonus for usage, 2 teams have won 10-0. Do you know who they were?
We either won or lost 10-0 in this competition. I can't remember.
West Ham beat Bury 10-0 once, and Liverpool beat Fulham 10-0 once. Yeah. Question 5. So there were 2 possible answers here, Suj, for the third division clubs who won the trophy at Wembley in the 1960s. Do you have either, Suj?
Probably not. I've gone with Fulham and Swindon.
Swindon Town is correct.
Did they beat Arsenal?
Swindon Town beat Arsenal, yes.
And Fulham? Incorrect.
Fulham is incorrect. But geographically, you're not far away again, Suj. It's another West London club. It's Queen's Park Rangers. Beat West Bromwich Albion 3-2 in the 1967 final.
Third division back then, were they?
Correct, yeah. Came up with Rodney Marsh, played for QPR in that final. And Rodgers was the star of the Swindon side that beat Arsenal in the 69 final. I was actually watching some highlights of that particular Arsenal-Swindon final last night. It's a bit of a classic, actually.
Okay.
Question 6. Who was the last Englishman excuse me, to win the competition? Suj?
I've gone with Harry Redknapp.
Harry Redknapp has never won this competition.
But
so the correct answer is someone who has managed England.
Yep.
It is Steve McLaren.
I was about to say Sam Allardyce.
Well, Steve McLaren beat Sam Allardyce in the 2004 final held in Cardiff when Middlesbrough beat Bolton.
Okay.
Question 7. Ian Rush holds the record for most final appearances with 6. Which other former Liverpool player shares that record? Do you know, Suj?
You said it was Premier League era.
It is Premier League era.
I went with Danny Murphy just because he moved around quite a bit and played for a few clubs and stuff. Maybe Danny Murphy.
He definitely didn't play in the final for any of the other clubs that he played for.
No.
The correct answer is the man they called Bruno at Filbert Street. It's Emil Heskey, who played in finals for Leicester in 97, 99 and 2000, Liverpool in 2001 and 2003, and for Aston Villa against Manchester United in 2010.
Heskey.
Emil Heskey holds the joint record for most appearances in a League Cup final. How do you feel now you know that knowledge?
We're devaluing the FA Cup a little bit, the League Cup a little here by thinking about that, but yeah.
Question 8. You don't know the answer, so I'll.
No, but let me have a guess at least.
Go on, have a guess then.
Torquay.
No, but you're getting close in terms of this time. You're close with colour.
Okay, I don't even know what colour Torquay. What colour did Torquay United play?
Yellow, predominantly.
I thought it might be yellow.
Sometimes yellow and white stripes, but predominantly always some sort of yellow. The correct answer is Oxford United. Oxford United played in the top division for 3 years in the first division. They had a good team, didn't they? Ray Houghton, John Aldridge. There were players there who went on to bigger and better things. Oxford beat QPR 3-0 in the 1986 final. They were a non-league club when the competition was formed. Those who guessed Wimbledon, unlucky. No. Oxford United is the correct answer. Question 9, who became the first side to retain the trophy?
Villa?
Nah, you're kind of Midlands again, though. Nottingham Forest.
Okay.
Retained not just the European Cup 2 years in a row, but also this competition. And it would have been 3 years in a row, but for a calamitous cock-up defensively that allowed Andy Gray to score for Wolves against them in 1980. So Nottingham Forest won the trophy in 1978, beating Liverpool in a replay, and then beat Southampton in 1979.
Okay.
Question 10. 5 teams have competed in 2 finals and never won the competition. Can you name them?
West Ham United?
West Ham United lost finals in 1966 and 1981. Just think, if West Ham had beat Liverpool in 81, it'd only be 39 years since your last trophy rather than 40. Got anyone else, Serge?
Everton.
Everton, remarkably, yes, have never won the League Cup. They lost finals in 1977 to Villa, as mentioned in one of the other questions, and 1984 to Liverpool in a replay.
Okay. Newcastle United.
Newcastle United have, to my knowledge, only appeared in 1 final, losing to Manchester City in the 70s. Newcastle is incorrect.
Leeds United.
Leeds United have won the trophy.
Okay.
Beat Arsenal in 70 or 71, one of them years, roundabouts then. My dad's already shouting at the monitor, no, James, it's no. But Leeds beat Arsenal, I know that.
And I went last with Wigan.
No, Wigan have never been in a League Cup final.
All right, that's 2.
The correct answers, I've already gone through 2 of them. In the answers previous is Bolton Wanderers.
Okay.
Lost to Liverpool in 95 and Middlesbrough in 2004. Southampton lost to Forest in the previous question, 1979, and also very recently to Manchester United, very unfortunately, in 2017. Sunderland lost the 1985 final and also lost to Manchester City in 2014. Correct answers are Bolton, Everton, Southampton, Sunderland and West Ham.
Hey.
Question 11 was Arsenal's mental comeback in a 4th round tie at Reading in 2012. What was the final score after extra time?
I've gone 7-5.
7-5 is the correct answer.
Yeah, baby. Nice.
Mental game. Spent the majority of that laughing. I think I turned it off when it went to extra time. Couldn't believe it. Astonishing game of football. Question 12. I know you know this one, Serge. So who holds the record for youngest ever score in a League Cup final, scored in the Liverpool United final in 83? Go on, Serge.
It's Norman Whiteside.
Norman Whiteside is the correct answer. For those who are our age and perhaps a little bit older will remember that.
Remember that because I was there.
It's a great goal. Great goal, by the way. He scored for United to put them in front, although they did lose the final. But yeah, the older people remember that basically Whiteside obviously broke into the United team very young. And every time he scored, commentators felt it obligatory to have to say how old he was. Yeah. Norman Whiteside, only 17. And it went on for years. Norman Whiteside, still only 20 every time he scored. You think Jesse Lingard's annoying now. Imagine this guy used to score every other week. You can never forget how old he was. Go and find any commentary of him scoring. They'll tell you his age.
Yeah.
Question 13, I'm going to think you've got as well, Serge. How many different companies have sponsored the trophy?
Let's do it together, James. You got Milk.
Are you going to do them in order as well?
I couldn't. Milk, Littlewoods.
Yeah.
Rumbelows.
Yeah.
You've got Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Capital One,
Yeah.
Carling,
Yeah.
Worthington,
Yeah.
Carabao. They weren't in order.
They weren't in order, no, but you are
8.
correct. 8 is the answer. So it is the, we can obviously have Milk.
Milk
It's
was
the
first.
Milk Marketing Board for its official title, but obviously it was just called the Milk Cup. Imagine that. Littlewoods, Rumbelows, Coca-Cola, Worthington, Carling, Capital One, Carabao. Interestingly, the Milk Marketing Board and Littlewoods actually introduced their own trophy. So obviously now you've got the free-handle trophy, haven't you?
Mm.
They introduced their own trophy, and I think clubs got both trophies originally, quite strangely. And then when Rumbelows took over the sponsorship, they reverted back to the original trophy.
One trophy. Okay.
Question 14. The last final to have a replay was in 1997 between Leicester and Middlesbrough. Which stadium hosted it, Suj?
Villa Park?
It was not.
Okay.
Correct answer is Hillsborough.
Okay.
Steve Claridge scored Leicester's goal at Hillsborough. Question 15. 1985 final was played between Norwich and Sunderland. Who played in that final who would later win and lose as a captain in 1990s finals? Suj.
Couldn't come up with anybody.
You're going to kick yourself. I'm telling you, mate.
I know. I feel it. I feel like it's definitely a Sunderland player.
It's not. It's a former Norwich player, and it's someone that we've spoken about on a podcast we did not too long ago for a special that we did on a People's Poll.
It wasn't Chris Sutton, no.
No, Chris Sutton would have been about 11, mate. The correct answer is Steve Bruce.
Right, okay, yeah.
Steve Bruce played for Norwich, and obviously he wasn't captain in the 92 final against Nottingham Forest, but he was captain when they lost to Aston Villa. And who did they beat in another final? He was captain when they beat Nottingham Forest. I think he wasn't captain when they lost to Sheffield Wednesday. Right. But he was captain, must have been the 92 final, yeah. I think Brian Robson had been injured, but he was definitely captain as well when they lost to Aston Villa in 94.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think I got confused there where I convinced myself that it was a Sunderland player, and then didn't think about Norwich. And even if I had, I wouldn't have got it.
Half the trick was kind of to forget the question and think who's been in more than one final in the 90s and start from there, and then work backwards a little bit. Question 16: Who became the first team to win the trophy at the rebuilt Wembley Stadium?
When's the last time your mob won a trophy, James?
2008.
Spurs?
Is the correct answer. Yeah. We beat Chelsea in the 2008 League Cup final, which was the first held at rebuilt Wembley. So Chelsea had obviously appeared in the first FA Cup final the previous May, beating Manchester United at the new Wembley, and then the first League Cup final lost to Spurs. You know what I remember most about that day, Suj, why everyone was going mental? No, I took it all in.
Oh really? I remember.
Yeah. Because I got pissed later that night.
Okay.
But I remember taking it all in and thinking to myself, because you never know, it might be a long time till the next one. It's genuinely true.
Oh, dear.
Question 17. In 1977, Aston Villa needed 2 replays before beating Everton, who scored twice in the second replay and went on to manage Villa in the Premier League era.
Oh, man.
What's the matter? I know you've got an answer.
I wrote down Ron Atkinson, but I'm going to change my mind if I may.
Go on.
Brian Little?
Brian Little is the correct answer.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, baby.
It is, yeah. I had a feeling you were going to be all over John Gregory there, actually.
Nah, I was thinking Brian Little. I know Ron Atkinson was a centre-back, wasn't he? He's a defender.
I can't remember much about Ron
Atkinson. I feel like Ron Atkinson was a defender. That's why I didn't want to go with
Ron Atkinson was managing late 70s, I think, mate.
That as early as that, eh?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, fair play. I knew he was an old fucker.
Brian Little was the correct answer. Question 18. Man City won 5 of the last 7 finals. Who's the only City player to score in more than one of those finals?
So I remember seeing on the old Wikipedia page that it's Aguero, David Silva, and Fernandinho were second behind Ian Rush in terms of appearances in finals or something like that. I feel like I just remember Aguero,
I think
Silva, and Fernandinho.
they're joint for most wins.
Oh, okay, fine.
Those 3 players, yeah.
So I picked one of those 3 for no reason other than.
So which one did you pick?
David Silva.
Well, you should have picked Aguero, shouldn't you?
Oh, I thought it was too obvious.
You've overthought it. Aguero
Others,
scored against Arsenal, scored the opener against
yeah.
Arsenal in 2018 and the opener against Aston Villa this year. Do you remember when,
I thought it was just too obvious.
You remember when Liverpool were running away with this Premier League that's about to get voided and Manchester City have had an awful season? In a year's time, when we restart football, we're going to remember that the only football club who won a trophy in 2020 was Manchester City.
Yeah, true.
Question 19. Who broke his arm playing for Arsenal in the post-match celebrations after scoring the winner during the game, Serge?
I hope I've got his name right here, James. I really hope I've got his name right. Stephen Morrow?
You can have that, yeah.
Okay.
No need for Stephen. Steve Morrow is absolutely fine.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve Morrow. Yeah, I mean, he really broke his arm, right? So if you remember, Arsenal played Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup final the same season, which was like over a month later. Morrow was still out, mate. Basically, his Arsenal career didn't really recover from it at all.
I remember he had a receding hairline, didn't he? He was getting a bit bald on top, if I remember.
Yes, at a young age, he was pretty bald. That's correct, yeah. Questions 20. So 6 clubs have appeared in the final since the Premier League was formed, and were obviously not Premier League clubs at the time. They were from lower divisions. How many have you got, Serge?
3, but I don't know if they're right, but I've got 3 names down.
Go on then. Bradford City lost 5-0 to Swansea, famously as a 4th-tier club in 2013, having dispatched them on their way. Arsenal, of course, obviously. And Aston Villa over a very intense semi-final.
We've already established that Wigan have never made it to a final, have we?
That's correct. So that's incorrect. Yeah.
And Oldham?
No, Oldham made the final in 1990, which was before the Premier League. I think, yes, that they would have been maybe a 2nd-tier club. Were they already up? I think they might have still been a 2nd-tier club. It's before the Premier League era. So that goes back to 1990.
Can I guess another 3?
Go on in.
Swansea won the Premier League when they won it. Cardiff
City is correct. Lost on penalties to Liverpool the year before Bradford City and Swansea's final. Lost to Liverpool on penalties in 2012.
West Brom?
Incorrect.
West Brom is incorrect. I feel like picking one of the Sheffield clubs, but...
Go on then, pick one.
Let's go Sheffield Wednesday.
No. Do you want to go Sheffield United?
Nah.
Nah, it's also wrong. The correct answers are Bolton Wanderers, we've mentioned. 1995, lost to Liverpool. In 1998, Middlesbrough, having gone down and been in the final the previous year, obviously played against Chelsea in the 98 final, then as a 2nd division club. Paul Gascoigne made his debut for Middlesbrough as a substitute in the final.
Okay.
Refused to take a runners-up medal, saying that he didn't deserve it.
Wow.
In 2000, Tranmere Rovers lost to Leicester City in the last final played at Wembley before it was rebuilt. Alan Kelly had equalised late on for Tranmere. Matt Elliott scored twice, although the first one really should have been awarded as a lone goal off the goalkeeper. But Matt Elliott scored twice for Leicester. So Bolton, Middlesbrough, Tranmere. And then the following year, the first in Cardiff, Birmingham City lost on penalties to Liverpool. None of this telling me Liverpool ain't a lucky club. Look at them. Played 3 lower league sides in cup finals. Bolton, Birmingham and Cardiff. So
you've got to get to the cup final to get the luck.
Don't worry about that nonsense. So the correct answers are Bolton, Middlesbrough, Tranmere, Birmingham, Cardiff and Bradford.
I thought Middlesbrough were in the Premier League when they'd got to the final, but they
were the year before. Obviously, as we'll talk about tomorrow on Thursday Throwback, obviously went down. He came back, and part of that year, and obviously, then Paul Merson was playing for Middlesbrough, made it to the final. I think, if I remember correctly, they might have beaten Liverpool in the semis of that, if I remember right. Can't remember.
Fair play. I got 14 in the end, James.
That's all right, mate.
Yeah, I mean, a couple in there, cheeky change of mind just when you're reading the question, like Burton Albion and Brian Little. But sometimes
I'll let you have them, mate.
when we do it in such a rush in the half an hour, 40 minutes that we do it, it's always a bit of fun. I'm fascinated to see how everybody else gets on and if they enjoy this little walk down League Cup lane, James.
I think some of the older ones would enjoy this. I tell you what, like my dad would have enjoyed this one, and he'll know all the old stuff. He won't know none of the modern stuff.
Right, yeah.
That's the way his brain works.
That's what happens, isn't it?
Ask him what happened in the 60s, he'll recite to the day. Ask him what happened last week, he can't remember.
There we go. James, what have we got left coming this week? We've got a stream tonight, Champman FPL.
Yeah, Game Week 11 live from 7:30. Join in the fun.
Haven't made my transfers yet, but I will be soon.
-4 incoming for me.
Oh, really? Big changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's happening.
It's right for you. You've got the points to play with, and you can afford it.
Go on.
Making 2 transfers this week.
All right. Good luck.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Middlesbrough, as we mentioned a couple of times, 96-97 season. Brilliant throwback this one will be. Friday, I'll be streaming again. Saturday, I'll be streaming again. Monday, we might even know if the Premier League is restarting or not.
Big news coming this weekend in terms of both the government, in terms of lockdown, and also the Premier League and Football Association and what happens on football. So do stay tuned. As soon as there is breaking news, we'll be producing and pumping out content as soon as we can.
No doubt.
Indeed. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to send us your scores for the quiz on Twitter. Don't take pictures of your answer sheet in case anyone hasn't done the quiz yet. But fascinated to know how you get on. And we'll be back at you as soon as we can. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.